Hi, everybody. I am so excited. I'm Sandy Sandler, the creator of the Bowdabra Bowmaker, and today I'm here with Nick Creticos of Nick's Seasonal Decor. I'm going to hand it off to Nick, and we're going to get started. So here you go, Nick.
Hi everyone. It's so nice to be back with you guys, to be using our Bowdabra, of course. We are going to be placing a piece of our Bowdabra wire. So this is the gold wire. We carry this both in gold and silver, as well as the large Bowdabra at nicksseasonaldecor.com. I usually am a little bit wasteful with my wires, but it comes on a 100-yard spool, and I get between 6 and 8 months use out of each roll. So it's really economical. So I just cut about a foot on each side, so about a 2-foot piece, and we're going to place that right into the middle on the top of the Bowdabra. So we're going to start with this pretty gingham. So first things first, and as I always tell you guys, there's so many different ways to make bows, but I'm going to show you a few different options for a funky bow. We're going to start by cutting a length of our tail, like a 14-inch piece on each side, give or take. You can cut these in advance, and I'm going to show you how to do that. What you're going to do is just pinch and open it up with about a 3.5-inch loop up top and about 6 to 8-inch tails underneath. So that is one piece. And I'm going to show you just how to add this real quick, and then we're going to cut a bunch in advance. So all we're doing is we're just pinching where we have our loop and our tails and just simply placing it right into the Bowdabra. We are going to update our schedule. That way it's easy for you guys to access and see exactly what dates we are going to be live. Social media it's awesome because we're able to connect with so many different people from so many different parts of the world. And we are here in my studio, and just clicking that live button can take you anywhere. So let me know where you guys are watching from. So all you have to do is just let us know that you're watching. I'm just cutting these in advance. I did add a second piece because I was distracted. That is usually what happens, right, Alex? I get distracted, I say I'm going to do something, and then I skip a step. So they're all different lengths. The more loops and tails you have, the more full your bow is going to be. I think a lot of you beginner bow makers out there really struggle with that. I think we all kind of do when we first start making bows. We are perfectionists, and we think they all have to be the same length, the same width. And the truth is that they really don't. The more irregular you can make a bow, especially this technique, I think the better it turns out. I think this ribbon's very, very pretty.
I love it.
And like I said in the beginning, this is such a versatile ribbon because it works for so many different projects. It doesn't really matter what you're designing for, whether it's a season or a holiday, it just works great. And even non-seasonal too, right? Think every day. Some people don't want to change out their bows or their designs, for each season. Some just want it, displayed on their wall or on their door for the whole year. So all I'm doing is I'm alternating at this point. We've been to Kentucky for a couple hours, right? We drove through Kentucky. I would love to spend more time there. But what I was saying is I just took a piece and we're alternating. So since I have a loop on the right-hand side or your left hand, I'm going to come back in with our next loop on the opposing side. And then, in doing so, it's not really changing the look of the bow in the end. What it's really doing is it's making it easier for you to fluff it in the end. So I have 3 loops on this side. I have 3 loops on this side, so 6 loops. I have this much ribbon left. We might as well use it. But, it seems like this thing lasts forever, at least 6 to 8 months of use. 100 yards, that's a lot of wire. So imagine if this was ribbon, that would be 10 spools of ribbon that we just used. What we can do then is take our wire. So since we folded this wire in half, we're going to have a cut end where the wire is cut, and then we're going to have a loop on the other side. And watch this, you guys. I can secure it like this. I can secure it like that. It doesn't matter. All we're going to do is take those 2 ends, pull them through the middle, put them through the loop, and tighten. It's as simple as that. So then what I'm doing is I'm just tying it. So I always like to tie it 3 times, if not more. Then what I do is, I think we're going to save this bow for the wreath. I think that would be pretty with this greenery and these flowers. I think that would look good. And I guess I can make this bow and have you guys tell me as it is. So this is just a beige burlap. So just a basic burlap ribbon. It's one of my favorites. And the first thing we got to do is we got to cut another length of wire.
Catherine says, I really need this to help with my arthritis.
Yes, it definitely helps with arthritis, carpal tunnel, or if you just struggle with making bows by hand. So holding ribbons in your hand, if you're putting a tight grip on it, it definitely can do some damage over time. But this acts as like a third hand. It holds everything in place. If you have to step away for a few minutes, you're not going to run into any issues because it's just going to stay exactly where you put it. But first things first, we're going to do a slightly different bow technique. We are going to start with a length of tails. The longer you cut them, I think the better. So I really like to have long tails. These are about 24 inches on each side, give or take. We're going to just take our tails and see the middle, like I said. All we're going to do is just put that right inside. We're going to start with a different technique. So same technique, the only difference between this one and the last bow is that we added our tails, and the last bow, we cut our loops that we worked in separately. Today, or this bow, what we're going to do is just place our ribbon inside, have about a 6 to 8 inch tail, and rotate our Bowdabra. So there is our next loop. And we'll just repeat this process and cutting off our tail as we go.
For the life of me, Nick, I cannot rotate. It just
Really?
doesn't work. No, I have to keep it straight.
Yeah, so what I say in older videos, and I got to get my lingo back, what I always tell you guys is that every tool from your scissors to your Bowdabra to your wires, you're going to have to kind of figure out what works best for your hands. So I like to rotate my Bowdabra, but I'd say the vast majority of people are more comfortable keeping it stationary and not moving it and actually rotating your hands. But either way works great. You're just going to have to figure out what works best for you. So if you've struggled with making bows on the Bowdabra in the past, try my technique. If you've tried mine and mine hasn't clicked, try Sandy's.
People that have made bows by hand for years tend to rotate, whereas those of us who could never make a bow without Bowdabra tend not to rotate. So it's kind of funny.
Huh, I didn't know that. I find it easiest to rotate, but like I said, just play around with it. When you first get your Bowdabra, just get comfortable using it. Take some ribbons and just place it inside. You don't even have to make a bow. The more comfortable you are with the Bowdabra, or any tool for that matter, the easier it's going to become. Yes, so you guys, we are heading to California. Is it this Sunday?
This Sunday.
This Sunday for the very first time ever.
Where in California are you guys going?
We are starting off in San Diego, and then we're going to end up in San Francisco.
So Alex is the planner, clearly. I am just there for encouragement.
Melissa says, Sandy, I can't rotate either.
So that's 3 loops. And then, so we have a total of 5 loops here. Now let's work in one more so that we have 6. So what I always tell you too is that it doesn't matter how many loops you have on each side. So earlier I said a lot of you guys are very specific with your measurements, and if things are slightly off, you seem to kind of shut down. And that all comes from, personal experience, right? I've done that before. So I have 3 loops on each side. If I worked in 2 on one side and 3 on the other, or 4 on one side and 5 on the other, we'll still have a beautiful bow. So don't get too caught up in the measurements nor how many loops. Just the more that you have, the more full it's going to be. The less you have, the less full it's going to be. And it really just depends on the project you're working with. So again, take your wires to the middle. Pull those 2 cut pieces through that loop, and then tighten.
So Pierrette asked if it's a work trip, Nick.
It's not. So we're actually going to a family friend's wedding, and then we're going to spend a couple extra days. So all of my travel that happens for work, we've been to some beautiful places, and we've never actually had the chance to tour, right? We're going to take our wires now. We're going to tighten, we're going to flip it over, and then take our wires, and again, 3 ties to really ensure that it's not going anywhere. So at this point in time, for those of you watching, let me know. Do you like? Well, I mean, this is not the final look, right? So don't think that this is the bow, but we're going to turn this into something beautiful. But which of these 2 bows do you like better with these pink flowers? It's kind of a toss-up. I don't know. What do you think, Al?
I like the black and white.
I think I do too, for a nice pop.
Yeah.
So we're going to fluff this out in a minute, but I want to place this on a grapevine. I know lots of you are anxious to see a wreath being made. It's been a long time. So we're going to take our bow, and what I do is I just lie it flat on top of my grapevine. How many of you guys have seen me here on Bowdabra in the past? But all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my wire, bring it underneath. Is that what I'm going to do? So we're going to take each wire, bring it from behind, and then tie it in the front.
Lots of black and white.
Yeah, I think this is going to look really pretty. And look, we have no tails on this bow. So it goes to show you don't need tails in every project. There's so many different ways to create a beautiful bow. And at this point, we can cut off our wire. So now that we've tied it to the wreath, we no longer need that little excess. And this is all I'm wasting from this wire, you guys. So I'm really proud of that. So now is the most important step. It is going to be, well, two, right? Two really important steps, fluffing and dovetailing. So to dovetail your tails, you're going to take them, fold them in half, and cut from the middle out towards the wired edge at an angle. And look at how much better that looks than this. Do that to all of your tails. It does add an extra minute or so, but it is worth your while. It really takes your wreaths and your bows to the next level. Claudia says from the Mitten State. What's the Mitten State?
Michigan?
Michigan, Wisconsin?
Any place cold.
I'm thinking cold too. Couple more tails. If you guys don't mind hitting that like and that share button, I would greatly appreciate it. It helps us inspire others and hopefully will help us, teach others how to make bows, because it's definitely, out of everything that we teach and everything, that we do, I feel like bow making is still the number one thing that, our customers and followers need help with. So we, of course, are more than happy to teach, but, by sharing, we'll reach others that maybe need that help. And, like I said before, there's so many different ways to use your Bowdabra. So if this doesn't help you, there's so many other bow techniques, other designers out there using it. And the best thing I can recommend is find one that kind of resonates with you, fluffing it a little bit more. So this ribbon's a little bit on the thinner side, but it does make for a beautiful bow. So there is how the bow looks. Look at how pretty that is. And we're going to add some flowers and some greenery. So let's get to that. So first things first is some greenery. So I have a little bit of fern. And this wreath we're going to make interchangeable. So you guys know in the past we've shown you how to hot glue your stems in to make the wreath permanent. But I know lots of you guys have one or two grapevines that you love to kind of transition from season to season. And by not hot gluing your stems and just inserting them into your grapevine, you're able to repurpose that grapevine over and over again. And then when your florals look tired, you can just toss them and then switch them up for the next season.
You know what's cool? Oh, I was just going to say what's really cool is Nick has his way of doing it. And then when I do my wreaths, I actually just throw everything in the Bowdabra, tie it off, and then tie it onto the wreath. So you get all the silks and everything in the Bowdabra. So it's a totally different style.
Totally different, yeah. And there's so many different ways, they're all equally beautiful. It just depends on the look you're going for. So we're going to just take this greenery, and since I cut these stems a little bit longer, they insert into the grapevine really easily, and they'll stay in place, for the duration of the wreath. So until you decide to take them out and switch it for whatever season or holiday is coming up, they'll stay in place. Share pictures in the Bowdabra fan gallery, as well as Nick's seasonal decor crafting community. Both groups have so many talented members that use the Bowdabra and create bows. So if you're a beginner, don't be afraid of sharing your bows, because when I share pictures of my first few wreaths and bows, you see the growth, right? So, never be ashamed, because we're all learning. And I think Sandy can vouch for that too. I'm pretty sure Sandy's first few bows needed some work.
Terry says that style is what caught my attention. Amy says, I have a hard time learning that funky bow.
Yeah, so if you struggle with it, best thing you can do is just practice with it. So use a inexpensive ribbon and place it in your Bowdabra, make your bow, take it apart, try it again, try it again, try it again. So the more practice that you have with ribbons and bow making, the easier it's going to be, to create. So like I said with the Bowdabra, if you're not, go ahead.
I was going to say, Nick, the wired ribbon does make a big difference.
It definitely makes a huge difference. So all of the ribbons we're using tonight are wired.
Despina says, you always have beautiful ideas and make things seem easy.
Thank you, Despina. All right, so we're going to snip down this mixed bush. Remove the tag.
Patricia says she never knew how to tie the bow using the wire. She finds it more difficult with pipe cleaner.
Yeah, so give the wire a shot. It might be easier. So just taking this filler bush and working it in. I think that fern's so pretty. So just sporadically adding our flowers in. And this is how it looks with just one bush of flowers and a little bit of leftover greenery. But we are not done. So let's work in our next bush. And this one is perfect for summer. You guys, look at how pretty this turned out. No glue necessary. You can change it out depending on the season. So this technique and having this is what we call a off grapevine. I'm getting confused. Upper right, lower right, and so on and so forth. You can place it in the middle. But I think it turned out really pretty. Amy said, I have the Bowdabra. It's time to bring it back out. That's right. Hey, Danae. We have a lot of Wreath community members here tonight. So actually, should we work in this greenery too? Let's make this really full. I just have a few scrap pieces of this greenery. Just tuck it in. With wreath making too, it does not have to be pricey. And that's one thing that, we pride ourselves with our business is that we make economical wreaths and teach you guys how to do it. So by working in this greenery, this is just leftover. We're not being wasteful. We already created a beautiful wreath using it, and now we're just putting our scraps to use. So whatever flowers you have on hand, you can turn them into something pretty. Not everything needs to be new. You can have partial pieces, just scraps. You can have one flower and make it work. So just tucking in a little of that fern. And what this fern is doing is it's acting as a filler. It's kind of bulking up our wreath, making the wreath look more substantial. And it's kind of lifting up these loops at the same time.
And we're going to be announcing the winner really soon. And I just want to let everybody know that next week, am I doing it next week or are you doing it next week, Nick? Alex?
Let's ask the boss. I think that's it for April.
No, next week we'll be in California. So we actually will not
of course I'm doing it. Okay.
Yes.
So Sandy will be doing it. Sandy,
Right.
you know
And
better
we'll
than to ask me that. Alex is the one that knows everything.
Very true. That was gorgeous.
We do have
Nick.
our winner tonight, though.
Thank you.
And it looks like we do have our winner. So I do want to announce congratulations to Joy Teasley Sandlin from Texas. So you won yourself a roll of scrunchy ribbon from Bowdabra tonight.
Show you how this bow turned out, right? So we're going to dovetail this really, really quick and fluff it out and just show you how pretty a bow can turn, from this. This just looks like a clump of ribbon. We're going to just dovetail really, really quick. So both of the ribbons we used tonight were wired and both were 1.5 inch. So 1.5 inch ribbon is my favorite. 1.5 inch is my go-to for 90% of the projects that we do. All right, is that it? One more loop, and then I can show you how easy it is to fluff. So just take a good look at that bow right now in its current state and watch the difference.
Myrna asked where you can get the bow maker.
While you're getting the Bowdabra, you might as well get a roll of wire too, right? So we have them in silver and gold, but the Bowdabra does come with a little sample pack of wire. So if you're looking to just kind of get started with it, it does come with, I don't know the exact length. Sandy, do you know, like roughly? I mean, it's enough to do several bows.
I think it's about 10 yards. So
about
yeah,
10
it's
yards.
enough
So
to
plenty
do
to
several bows. And you can also get the Bowdabra at Hobby Lobby or at Amazon or bowdabra.com.
Okay, let's fluff. Why is there another tail missing?
Yes, congratulations, Joy. You can go ahead and message Bowdabra.
Okay, and here, look how pretty that looks. So you can spend as much time as you would like, but I think that looks great as it is. So I think that is going to do it. So we made a pretty funky bow with long tails here, and we made the perfect spring and summer wreath, right? I mean, this could be hung up year-round too. Thank you, Sandy, and thank you, Tess, I believe, right? Tessa?
And I will see everybody next week. So you guys have a fabulous trip.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it. So thank you guys again, and we'll see you next month. Bye, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.